husband decided many years ago that he wanted to live on a farm at some point in his life, although he had allergies, which I could not believe. But anyway, and that's how we ended up when he did well enough in his business. This is why we ended up with a farm. Yeah, I founded the company in 1963.
Wow.
I had a 50th anniversary in 2013, and I sold it. Yeah. Yeah, no, his business had nothing to do with farming whatsoever. Neither one of us had anything to do with farming. Not a clue.
What do I do? A little bit of everything. I feed cattle and horses. I do all the land work on about 120 acres, grow hay, cut the hay, take the hay off, bale it, bring it in, store it, and put it out for the cattle when they're running out of pasture like they are right now because the frost. The hay isn't so good, so they have to have the hay for protein. What did I do before this? I worked for King Cole Ducks for 37 years on maintenance and driving transport. And the main reason I got the job here was because they needed someone to drive the 55-foot trailer with the horses to the horse shows, and that's where I got the job here originally.
Well, to start with, it was a milking operation, and we did that with help, of course, because we certainly didn't know anything. But I can remember getting Bruce and I out in the barn trying to help deliver a calf, and we knew absolutely nothing. And we have got the feet tied, and we are pulling when she pushes, and we're on the floor of the barn. And, all of a sudden, the humor of the whole situation just blew me away. And I'm hysterical. I'm laughing so hard. I thought if anybody could see us that knew us would think we'd completely lost it. Completely. But anyway, we learned as we went. Eventually, we got out of milk cows. We went into cattle, beef cattle. No, we rented it for a while to a man from Switzerland, and he ran a milking operation for a few years. And when he left, we went into beef cattle. And a couple of years later, we added a couple of horses. And then we added more horses. Then we began to show them. And we showed cattle. We showed cattle, we showed horses. Belgians. Mares, which was kind of unheard of at the time. Mares were second-class citizens in the horse world. But we put in a lot of years and we built them up to the point where eventually we had a lot of people changing over to mares. So it was kind of interesting.
The first show we went to, Bruce and I went on our own. Aaron, the man that he hired to come and look after the horses and drive and train, Bruce and I done it ourselves for 2 years, and we just went to the fall fairs around here, him and I, with mare and a fold, and that's how Bruce got hooked on it. And then he started buying horses, and when we were showing horses at Sutton, Markham, Toronto, Glen Oro, Michigan, and Boston, and where else did we go? Calgary, what's the other place? I don't know, all over the States. There was about 6 shows in the States we went to all at once. Then come back, and then we went to the States for another one, and then went on through to Wisconsin and up to the Stampede. So it was fun. But we had 38 horses here, and sometimes I would drive them with the truck to the show and fly back here, do the farming, and when they were ready to move to the next show, I would either fly back to where I come from to move them to the next show, or Bruce would drive me, one or the other, depending where it was. And then I'd come back here and farm for a few days and then back and help them move. Sometimes I stayed, it depends. If it was hand time, I couldn't stay. I'd help them set up and then on a plane and back here. Within about 6-7 miles of here, there used to be about 4 dairy farms. Now there's none. You have to go about 8 or 10 miles north of here before you get into dairy farms now. There's none around here because of the price of land and the development that's went on. The average price of land, farmland, is without buildings is $25,000 an acre here. So you never pay for it farming. If you had to get a mortgage, you'd never get out of debt if you were farming for a living, unless you were doing it. You had a job and you were renting the land out for tax purposes. You might do all right then, but as far as buying all the equipment, like the baler that we have was $30,000 for the one baler, and the one tractor was $80,000 with a loader and a claw to move hay. So no way you're gonna make money farming. So we haven't had very good luck. One cow and one horse this year. That happens. That's farming. When I told Mrs. B, I said, got some bad news. She says, nothing is bad news on a farm.
Anyway, yes, it was quite amazing when you think about it, because my husband had quite a few allergies. It was all on his side through his mother, that he would want to farm that bad. Yeah, you'd really wonder.
He liked the outdoors.
But he loved it. He loved it here.
He was the president of Mr. Transmission, and then he started up Brillinger Farms from that, and bought 3 farms here, and carried on from there. He had cancer, and he'd had it for quite a few years that he never told anybody, and he died at home in his house where he wanted to die. Well, Bruce was a real good guy. He was started up Mr. Transmission and run it for, I'm not sure how many years. I think it was about 50, and his wife, after he passed away, ended up selling the Mr. Transmission business, and that's why we got rid of all the horses that we were selling and using for advertising for Mr. Transmission. And Bruce was a down-to-earth type of guy, and him and my dad got along good, and him and I get along good because we were always involved in horses and cattle. He just loved to get out of the office and come to the farm and get on a tractor or help fix fence or rake some hay or bale some hay, and he loved farming. The farm didn't go up for sale till after he passed away. His wife is in charge of, or was in charge of Mr. Transmission until it was sold, and she's still in charge of her and her son of Brillinger Farms.
Yeah, because we had 38 Belgians here before, I guess it'd be about 2 years before Bruce died. We sold. He knew he was dying of cancer, and he said, "That's it. We're gonna get rid of everything."
Well, one of the saddest parts for Bruce was he had his oldest son trained to run the business, and he was kind of running the business for the last few years, even though Bruce was involved. Yeah. And he passed away a year before his dad, and that's really set Bruce back. It really affected Bruce. He went down, like I said, he'd had cancer and never told anybody, and when his son died, he told everybody, and a year later, he passed away. It really affected him, because he thought he was going to be able to take life easy and stay on the farm or go fishing or hunting and what he loved to do, and he couldn't do that because he had no one to run the business when his son passed away, and that really, really bothered him.
It isn't exactly being sold. It's on the market. There's 400 acres. We're in Greenbelt. So obviously it's not a big market. But there's nobody in the family to take it. And the same with the business which I ran. There was nobody in the family to take it, so there's no point in keeping it. So if somebody comes along that would like a long-term investment, yes, it's available.
up until the last year of his life, he was always a goer. I guess you had to be in the business he was in with the farm and the Mr. Transmission, and he would go and visit his franchises, and run all over Canada visiting and make sure they were doing all right. And if they weren't, he either sold them off or told them what to do to change. I think his wife was left everything to, and I'm sure that she's looking after it the way that he wanted it looked after, and that was why the farm, or Mr. Transmission, was for sale, because he didn't want her being the boss of it at her age. I know she wants to stay in the house as long as she wants. If she does sell it, she wants to stay in the house. So that's another drawback, I would think, on selling. I don't know. But I know the family, I know she looks after them pretty good, but I know some of them have been bugging her to get their share.